Lesson 41, Part 3 is solving inequalities by dividing. Go ahead and get your notes ready. Push play when you're ready to begin. Okay, here's another lesson that really is kind of putting together what you already have learned and using and applying it further ahead. So we should see another nice short lesson again today. So we're looking at the equalities. So we'll start with a we do. We're looking at the equality 3x is greater than 24. And just like we talked about in the previous lesson, an inequality is handled much the same as the equal sign. It's like the equations. It's still the ocean, what I call it. Nobody else calls it that. I just call it that. I don't know. So it's still the barrier between the two sides. So we're going to handle it the same way as we did when these were equations. And you thought, oh, well, that was easy when we did this with equations. So hopefully you'll feel the same way. So I have 3x is greater than 24. So here is my ocean, here is my variable. Hanging out with my variable is times 3. So I do the opposite of times 3, which is divide, to undo the multiplication. Divide 3, divide 3. That cancels that out, leaves me with x. And 3 fits into 24 8 times. So x is greater than 8. Easy. And then I just have to graph it, which is also becoming easier, I assume. We'll have 0, we'll count by 2s, I guess. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, that's good enough. So I circle 8. I don't bubble it in because there's not that little equal thing down there, so x can't be 8. Now, x is here, this is my variable, and the alligator is going to him, so he must be bigger than 8. So he could be 9 because he's bigger than 8. He can't be 6. He could be 10, so we must go off this direction. So I would graph him like that. And the graph shows that the answer could be 8, 8.5, or not 8, sorry, 8.5, 9, 9.5, 10, 10.2, 11, 12.7, anything that's on this line all the way up. All right, let's look at another one. We have this one you're also writing into your notes. 42 is greater than 7x. 42 greater than 7x. So here's my ocean. Here's my variable. I have the multiply by 7 hanging out with the variable, and that's what I'm trying to get rid of. And I'll do that by division. It's the inverse property of multiplication, the opposite of it. Cancels that out, leaves me with x. And 42 fits into 7 fits into 42 6 times. So x, whatever it is smaller than 6, because the alligator goes after bigger numbers. And so this is at the alligator butt, so that's the smaller number. So x must be smaller. So let's put that on a graph. I have 0, I'll count by 2s again. 2, 4, 6, 8. And I'm going to circle the 6. I'm not going to underline it because there's not that little, I'm not going to bubble it in because there's not that little underline thing underneath it. And again, x is smaller than 6, so it could be 4, but it can't be 8 because that's not smaller than 6. Could be 3, could be 2.5, so anything on the line over here, so that's everything that x can be. X can be any of that stuff. Let's try a you do. Let's see how you do. Go ahead and try this one. Push pause and then push play when you have an answer and you have it graphed. All right, you should have an answer. So let's see how you did. Here is my ocean. Here is my variable. Multiply by 5 is happening with the variable. So I'm going to undo that by dividing by 5, the inverse or opposite of it. That cancels out, leaves me with x. And 5 fits into 35 7 times, because 5 times 7 is 35. So I get the answer that x is less than or equal to 7. So I need to put 7 on the number line, so I'm going to do that now. I'll have 0, I'll count by 2s again, 2, 4, 6, 8, and of course 7 would be right in between 6 and 8, so I'll put 7 in there, because that's the one I need. I will circle it, because that's the number I'm talking about. I'll also bubble it in because that equal sign there. So it could be 7. X could be 7 is what we're saying when we bubble that in. Sure, it could be 7. Or it's going to be smaller again, right? Because the butt is facing that, the alligator mouth is facing the bigger number. So this is smaller. So it could be 6, and it could be 5, and it could be 4, but it can't be 8. So let's go ahead and show what it can be. 2, 0, negative, blah, blah, blah. It could be any of those. It just can't be any of that stuff. And that's it. Pieced 2 pieces of information together that we've learned before, and we learned them well, so that makes for a nice, short, quick lesson. If you're understanding it okay, go ahead and get the closure questions. If you're still struggling, you can rewind and review anything, or you can come see me